A very good afternoon, students. I hope you all are staying fit, fine, and doing well. So, we already started up with the second chapter of geography that covers the physical features of India. We know that we have 6 major physiographic divisions in India, and we have already covered the very first major physical feature of India, that was the Himalayas, or let's say the Himalayan mountains. The second physical feature of India is the northern plains, and in this video we are going to talk about the northern plains. So let us begin. We are going to talk about each point in detail that covers each detail about the northern plains. So the very first point is the formation of northern plains. How are northern plains formed? So let's say we have these Himalayan mountains over here. So we have Himalayan mountains on the northern borders, and we have 3 major Himalayan rivers, the Indus, the Ganga, and the Brahmaputra. These are the 3 major Himalayan rivers which flow from the Himalayas. Now these Himalayan rivers not only carry water with them, but they also carry some sediments, fine particles, sediments like sand, silt, and clay, and they then deposit in these part which I am marking with yellow. And with these part, when all the sediments get deposited in the yellow shaded region, this yellow shaded region becomes the northern plains. Thus we can say that in the formation of northern plains, the 3 major Himalayan river, which are the Ganga, the Indus, and the Brahmaputra, they play a major role because they bring along water, all the sediments from the Himalayan mountains, which then get deposited here and they form the northern plains. Now the second point, which says this plain is formed of alluvial soil, that means this yellow shaded region which represents the northern plains on the Indian map, this portion has a lot of alluvial soil. That means the soil type that is found in this northern plains is known as the alluvial soil. So alluvial soil is just a type of a soil which is the most fertile soil found in India, and the most fertile soil is found in the northern plains of India. Okay. So we now come up to the area. The area is the second point we talk about the northern plains. So the northern plains are spread over an area of 7 lakh square kilometers. That means the area covered by them is 7 lakh square kilometers, which is a very big area. Okay. So let's say I'll move on some slides forward just to show you the image of the northern plains. So this blue part marked over here, you can see very clearly this is the northern plain on the Indian map, right? So just focus on the northern plains and we'll see the division later, but this blue shaded region is the northern plains, and this occupies an area of 7 lakh square kilometer. When we talk about the distance in length, that means how long is it, then it is 2400 kilometers long. That means the length of these Himalayan mountains. Okay, so when we talk about the length of these Himalayan mountains is 2400 kilometers. Okay, now then see the northern plains. These northern plains are, they are not equally distributed. In some part they will be very broad, in some part they will be very thin. So the width of these northern plains differ. Now we are going to move back to the first slide. Yes, so we were talking about it is spread over an area of 7 lakh square kilometer. We know that. We already discussed it is 2400 kilometer long, and then it is broad. Now it is not equally broad from all parts. In some parts northern plain is this broad, in some parts it will be very thin. So it is ranging from 240 to 320 kilometers broad. Okay, so this is all about the area of the northern plains. We then talk about how populated is the northern plains. The third point is the population of the northern plains. That means in this part we are going to talk about, let's say this is the northern plain part. Okay, then in northern plains how many people live? So it is a very densely populated area. See, it says densely populated means that there are so many number of people living in the northern plains. So there are basically three reasons that why are so many people living in these northern plains. The first reason is that we have rich availability of soil. That means a lot of rich soil. We already discussed in the previous slide that in this part we have the alluvial soil, and alluvial soil is the most fertile soil. So we have rich soil here. Then we have abundance of water. Why? Because there are the Himalayan rivers which carry water in this region, and because of the Himalayan rivers there is no scarcity of water. Instead we have abundance of water there, right? We then talk about the favorable climatic conditions. That means in northern plains we have a very favorable climatic conditions, because of which this area becomes agriculturally productive. Because of these three reasons, the northern plains become very agriculturally productive, and because they are agriculturally productive, it becomes a densely populated physiographic division. Is that clear? That we have these three properties because of which it is agriculturally productive, and because it is agriculturally productive it is densely populated, because so many people are able to utilize from the agriculture here, and that is why they live in the northern plains. We ourselves live in the northern plains because UP is in northern plains and we live in UP, right? Now we are going to talk about this point. It says these plains have several geographical features like the riverine island and distributaries. That means in the northern plains it's itself a geographical feature, and in the northern plains we have two types of geographical features, which are the riverine island and distributaries. Now you'll ask me, what are the riverine islands and what are distributaries? So that we are going to talk about in the next slide. We're going to talk about riverine islands first and then the distributaries. Okay, so let's assume that we have this northern plain, okay, and we have a river coming in the northern plains. See, we have this, let's say, Ganga river coming from the Himalayas. Over here on the top we have the Himalayas, okay, these are the Himalayan mountains, and there is this in blue we have marked that this is the Ganga river coming from the Himalayan to the northern plains, okay, from the Himalayas to the northern plains this is coming. Now, as we already discussed, this water carries some sediments with them, right? When these sediments are taken to the northern plains, at some places they start getting deposited. Let's say all the heavy sediments which are there, the heavy sand and all the material which is very heavy, they start getting deposited here. And over thousands of years, when these sediments they start getting deposited and deposited, in the span of 1,000 years, these sediments they turn or convert them itself into a land. That means in the middle of the river we have now a land, and now if we have a land, then from where will the water flow? If water is flowing and we put a land in, or let's say a stone in between, then what will happen? Will the water stop? No, it will not. Some of the water will flow from this area, some of the water will flow from this area. That means as soon as the land is formed, the water gets divided into two parts and it again starts flowing into one major river. So this part in the middle which we have shown, like this part in which we have a land in the between and river on all the sides, this part is called a riverine island. And there are riverine islands formed in the northern plains because there are so many rivers coming from the Himalayan mountains, and they carry sediments along with them. These sediments, over the span of 1,000 or let's say millions of years, these sediments get deposited and they turn them itself into a land. And when this land is once formed, the water starts getting divided and it flows from all the parts of the land, and the land in between is called the riverine island because it is a land that is surrounded by river from all the sides. Okay, so now we are going to read the definition, which says, what is riverine island? The speed and the velocity of the Himalayan rivers, all the Himalayan rivers, they come from the mountains. The speed decreases as it comes near the foothills. That means as soon as it comes near the plains, the speed of the water gets slow. Now when the speed gets slow, all the sediments start getting deposited in the area, forming an island. We have already discussed how that island is formed over the years. It is surrounded by water from all the sides, and thus it is called a riverine island. Okay, this is a did you know fact that is given in your book, that Majuli in the Brahmaputra river is the largest riverine island that is there in the world. Okay, now we are going to talk about the next geographical feature that we have in the northern plains. See, what are northern plains? We already talked about. Let's say this is the northern plain area. Okay, and we have again the water coming from the Himalayan mountains, right? The water is coming from the Himalayan mountains. Let's say this is the Ganga river, and if the Ganga river has to move from the Himalayan mountains covering the northern plains to the other parts of India, will it go in just one direction? It has so many distributaries. It divides itself into several channels, right? So when the river divides itself into several channels, those several channels are called distributaries. That means this part of the river will also be a distributary, this part will also be a distributary, because a major river is distributing itself into several channels. That means it will form several distributaries as it distributes itself into several channels, right? So we have so many distributaries of the main Himalayan rivers which are found in the northern plains. So I guess these two geographical features are very clear to you. The riverine island, how is it formed, and the distributaries, how the main river distributes itself into various channels forming distributaries. Okay, now one of the major important topics of the northern plains is that how are the northern plains divided. When we were talking about the Himalayan mountains, we discussed that the Himalayan mountains are divided into three parts, right? The inner Himalayas, we talked about the inner Himalayas, the middle Himalayas, and the outer Himalayas. Didn't we talk about it? We talked about all of them in detail, right? Similarly, in the northern plains also we have the division of the northern plains. The northern plain is divided into three parts, the 1, 2 and 3. The first part is the Punjab plain, the second part is the Ganga plain, and the third is the Brahmaputra plain. This part is called the Punjab plain because it occupies most area of Punjab. Then this part is called Ganga plain because majorly we have Ganga river over here. And similarly the third part is called Brahmaputra plain because in this part we have the Brahmaputra river flowing. Okay, we are going to talk about each one of them very quickly and in brief. Okay, so the northern plain is divided into three sections: the Punjab plain marked as 1, the Ganga plain marked as 2, and the Brahmaputra plain which is marked as 3. We now move forward. We talk about the Punjab plain. Okay, we talk about the Punjab plain which is marked as 1 in the figure. It is the westernmost part of the northern plain. This is the whole northern plain area, and the Punjab plain which is marked as 1 is the most western part, right? We know this is west, this is east, this is north, and this is south. Don't we know? North, east, west and south. So the westernmost part is this is the northern plain, and the westernmost part is the Punjab plain. This is clear. Formed by the Indus and its tributaries. That means, see, I told you there are three major Himalayan rivers: the Indus, the Ganga and the Brahmaputra. So the Punjab plain is formed between Indus and its tributaries. That means in the Punjab plain we have majorly the Indus river, okay, and the Ganga plain is there in second, and that we'll talk about further. But in the Punjab plain we have majorly the Indus river and the distributaries of the Indus river. We have already talked about what distributaries are. They are different channels where the river divides itself, right? So the main Punjab plain, the area marked with 1, this is formed by the Indus river and its distributaries. Okay, so now we are going to talk about the third point. We have already covered the first and the second. Third part says larger part of this plain lies in Pakistan. That means most of the part of this plain lies in Pakistan. The northern plains is not only this much, it is a very big area, but we have only covered the Indian part, right? So most of this part of this plain lies in Pakistan. The last point says this section of the plain is dominated by doabs. Now what are doabs? Doabs are basically land between two rivers. Okay, do means two and abs means rivers. Okay, so a land which is there between two rivers. So there are so many doabs in between. Let's say that there are so many rivers flowing here. Okay, the Indus river is coming from here, distributes, and there are so many rivers flowing. All these distributaries are given several names. Okay, let's say this is Indus, then there is Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi. You're going to talk, you're going to know about all the rivers in further chapters, but I'm telling you that there are so many rivers here, and between the rivers we have lands, and that land is called doabs. For example, let's say there is one river going here and the other river is going here. That means this part will be called a doab. That means it is a plain area which is there between two rivers, and we have many doabs between, in this Punjab plain. In fact, Punjab is itself called Punjab because it is a land which has 5 rivers. That means if we talk about Punjab, let's say I am writing Punjab here, that means Punjab means, Panj means 5 and Ab means rivers. Okay, so that means Punjab is a land which has majorly 5 rivers, and that is why this area is called Punjab plain. Okay, now we move on to the next plain, which is the Ganga plain. Okay, so I already told you that the northern plain is divided into 3 parts. The first one was Punjab plain. Now we are going to talk about Ganga plain. This part of the plain extends between Ghagar and Teesta rivers. That means this is Ghagar river and here we have Teesta river. So between the Ghagar and the Teesta river we have the Ganga plain. It spreads over the states of North India like Haryana, Delhi, Bihar, and also Jharkhand and West Bengal. If you see in the western, if you see the political map of India, you will find UP here, Haryana here, Delhi here, Bihar, Jharkhand, West Bengal, all are lying in the Ganga plain only. Okay, so it is spread over the states, these many states which are mentioned here. Now we talk about the last type of plain, which is the Brahmaputra plain. Formed by the Brahmaputra river, very easy, covers mainly all the northeastern states, and this is the easternmost part of the northern plains. This is the northern plains. The westernmost was Punjab plain, then was Ganga plain, and here we have Brahmaputra. B for Brahmaputra, G for Ganga, and P for Punjab plain. So the Brahmaputra plain is the easternmost plain of the northern plains. Okay, so I guess this part is very clear to you, and the northern parts, the northern plains physiographic division has been covered in great detail. If you find any problem in any of the point, then we can discuss it, in the next class or whenever you want to. Okay, so that will be the end of the session, and have a great day everyone.